Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kukumlimle in Accra on digital address GA0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Teleso 4G, just a touch. Coming up in this edition, Power Distribution Services publishes first load shedding timetable announcing a 12-hour widespread power cuts across the country. Some people say their businesses have grinded to a halt as a result.
Until it comes, else we have to go home. We have some papers to do, but we don't have the light, so we can't do the job.
It's a very, very sad thing going on in this country, that any president or any government that will come, make sure that it must stop forever.
We'll take you live to some affected areas and bring you an update on the work at the Atuabo gas plant, which has been blamed for the current crisis. Now, in spite of the gloomy picture painted by the opposition NDC, experts say the economy has performed better under this government than it did previously.
There's no doubt that this economy is recovering. There seems to be some turnaround with regard to the economy, particularly on the macroeconomic front. The indicators are there.
Details as reactions continue to coming after the ANPP and NDC's lecture on the Ghanaian economy. But what is your takeaway from the two lectures?
Well, I think, Dr. Baumia is making a lot of sense. And the other one, I think it doesn't make any sense to me.
The two political parties must always agree on something that is good for the country and not to take their parochial interest at heart.
We'll also ask whether the 2020 campaign has officially kick-started. Also in this edition, 11-year-old JHS pupil hospitalized after being raped in turns by two men at Antwa Ahujo in the Ashanti region. We also have sports.
Yes, and the country is hosting the International Tennis Federation Under 18 World Junior Circuit Championship. Now, no Ghanaian representative made it to the semi-final, and we'll be finding out why.
And also later, drivers in the capital welcome move by the MTTD to deploy more women on major streets to direct traffic in the move to bridge gender inequality.
Respect
We have details on these beautiful police women that have been deployed by the MTTD. We have all that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apo. And in our very first story, power distributor PDS has this morning published the first load shedding timetable in which it announces widespread power cuts across the country. At least 8 regions will face a 12-hour outage, which PDS says is due to ongoing work on the Atuabo gas processing plant. Joseph Akable is with our energy desk and joins me in the studio with details of the schedule. Now, Joseph, tell us the extent to which these 8 regions have been affected by this outage.
So the regions are Greater Accra, which has areas that fall under Accra and Tema largely affected. We also have that of the Ashanti region, that you have more than 100 areas affected. We also can talk about that of the Eastern region, Western region, which includes the Western and Western North region as they have been demarcated. Now we also have the Central region and Volta region and Oti region all being affected. So in total we have 8 regions affected.
And this will be a 12-hour outage. Do we know how they will be affected, how it will be done?
So from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and we have already checked. Our correspondents will be joining us with the very latest. We understand a lot of these areas are currently in darkness.
Okay, now we also know that the work on the Atuabo gas processing plant is to blame for the situation. Do we know the current state of work?
The work that is being done deals with a connection between the Atuabo gas processing plant and the West African gas pipeline to ensure a flow of stranded gas in the western region to the Tema enclave, where a number of plants that feed the national grid are located. Our sources say there has been significant work done over the last few days. In terms of specific stage of work, we are told that most of the pipes have been connected. Cleaning and painting of these pipelines are ongoing and they are expected to be completed today. Leveling of the chip-ins under the main pipe rack has also commenced. I'm sure what most people will be interested in is how soon this will be completed. Our sources tell us that gas into the station for commissioning purpose only will start today and be completed. Once completed, gas can be exported to VRA at Abuadi on Sunday, 7th April 2019, ahead of target. They assure that by the end of the April 12th, the deadline that was handed by the energy minister, we should have stable supply in all parts of the country.
And so this load shedding is just for the 12-day period?
Yes.
Which we've already done some days out of. We're still counting down though. But like Joseph said, we'll be touching base with some of our reporters who are dotted across the country. Let's start off with Accra, and Joy News' Efwa Evans Chinri has been visiting some areas hit by the outage. She joins us on the line. So Efwa, what's been the reaction to this development?
Hi, MFR. I've been to the Abusoka Izongo Junction, Mateko, as well as Niwa Chimota. Now, in these areas, lights have been off since 5 a.m., and most shop owners are spotted sitting outside were angry because they claimed they were unaware of the situation. I spoke with a gentleman who works at a printing press at the Abusoka Izongo Junction. He said he had earlier gotten into a scuffle with one of his customers because the deadline to get a job done had elapsed. He says he's likely to lose a lot of money because of this. A nurse I also spoke with at Matayeko also lamented the effect the power outage could have on medications at a pharmacy she works at. But let me also mention that not all these areas on PDS's list have been affected by the power outage. In fact, in some areas, whilst we were speaking to some of the residents, the lights came back on.
The problem that we have is we don't understand. When the light goes off and it comes back, then your units vanishes. I don't know where it goes. When you go there to buy some, they will tell you you have to pay more. You owe. Because I was having about 50 cedis on it, on the meter. Then after the light off, when the light came, then I owe 37 cedis. While the light was off, I was not using the light. It's a very big problem.
Okay, so you work here at a print. This is a printing press, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what are you going to do today? It means no work
No,
today?
we don't. Until it comes. Else we have to go home.
But you don't know the time that the lights are going to come on. It's going to come on.
I don't know whether
around
5 o'clock,
6,
6 o'clock.
around 6
If
PM.
6, then it means by then we have to close.
Okay. So how is it going to affect you?
Oh, now, as you can see, we have some papers to do, but we don't have the light, so we can't do the job.
Okay.
So some of them will come for their papers, which means...
And take it elsewhere?
Yeah, because they need it urgently.
Because of the light, things are not going well. Because some medicines used to be put into fridge, but when the light is off, we can't use the fridge, and it has to be fan always or air condition always. But because of the light, look at this place. The place is very hot. So the light is worrying us.
Okay.
Efwa Evans Chinri there interacting with some residents here in Accra. We head to the Ashanti region where our correspondent Kwesi Deborah reports residents have been forced to resort to alternative means of power. He joins us on the line. So Kwesi, what's been the interaction between you and these residents? It looks like we've lost Kwesi Deborah there on the phone, but some of them have been interacting with him. We can hear them.
What's going on is very disturbing, but our leaders have told us that they are working on the gas pipeline. That's a 12 gas line. So 12 days coming, the problem was restored. I don't know whether the 12 days restored or not, whatever it is, but it's very disturbing. Well, it affects us sometimes, as you can see over here. We have a lot of work to go and do, but when they call, they say that they don't have light, so you have to wait. Sometimes you have to wait until the evening that they have light, and you have to go to them. Sometimes you have to early in the morning, you have to wake up and go and work. But it has really affected us. That one day is fact.
I think we are 62 years as a country, and for that matter, our government must sit up with the energy sector. They should focus on the energy sector to make sure that things work in place. Because if I am an entrepreneur and I have workers that have been employed to work for me, and I see light going out, so they going every day like that, I can sack some of the workers, because I'll use some of the money to go for petrol or diesel to pump in order to boost what I'll gain. So it's a very, very sad thing going on in this country, that any president or any government that will come make sure that it must stop and must stop forever.
So you had some residents of Kumasi as well. Definitely we'll get some clarity from the PDS in our subsequent bulletins on the power situation and that load shedding, whether it continues on to the weekend. We'll get details of that here on Joy 99.7 FM. Let's stay a while longer in Kumasi or in the Ashanti region though, because a middle-aged widow is seeking justice for her 11-year-old daughter allegedly defiled in tens by two men at Antwa Ahojo in Ashanti region. The victim is currently on admission at Suntreso Government Hospital in Kumasi, where she underwent minor surgery as a result of the assault. My colleague Kwesi Deborah, or Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko, I beg your pardon, has more in this report.
Frail-looking victim of alleged sexual abuse is one of 6 children of helpless Aisha, not her real name, whose husband died and left them in financial difficulty. The girl tells Love News 2 men, 25-year-old Martin Asiedu and a Jakoko who is 45 years, forcibly had sex with her in tens. On my way to school, Martin sent me on an errand. When I returned, he asked me to send the item to his room. Then he followed me and forcibly had sex with me. He threatened to kill me if I tell anybody. He then walked me to Ejakoko's house, and he also had sex with me. Her mother says she observed traces of blood in the girl's urine which came with vomiting, but she had no money to seek medical treatment. Though the girl later underwent medical examination at Asnomanso Government Hospital to confirm sexual assault, Aisha could not raise funds for proper care. Local NGO Women's Wealth to Health subsequently stepped in. My daughter's teacher called me from school. He said she was vomiting blood. I pleaded with a neighbor to help register her on insurance so I could take her to the hospital. But I was told I could only use the card after a month. Some good Samaritan had to help me to send her to the hospital. The girl finally underwent a minor surgery on Wednesday at Suntreso Government Hospital, where she is on admission. One of the suspects, Martin Asiedu, was arrested, arraigned and granted bail by Jabin Circuit Court, but his accomplice, Ejakoko, is on the run. Ahead of Asiedu's return to court on the 30th of this month, personnel of DOSU at Mampontein tells Love News the court has referred the case for alternate dispute resolution. They will not speak on record, but indicated they are supervising 1,000 Ghana cedi settlement between the suspects and mother of the victim. My checks at Jabin Circuit Court established the court had given no such order. Aisha confirms police have given her 500 Ghana cedis, supposedly from a relative of one of the suspects. Family of one of the suspects came to beg, asking that we settle the case because their son is sick. He was epileptic. They told me to quantify my medical expenses, so they take care of it. I said I've spent 1,000 Ghana cedis, and they gave me 500 Ghana cedis. But later, to my surprise, they wanted to spread the arrangement to cover the other suspect who is at large. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
This is the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM, live on myjoyonline.com across the world. Now, in the last 48 hours, the Ghanaian economy has been undoubtedly the most talked about issue. But the picture painted about it has been that of hope by government's economic team and that of doom and gloom by the opposition NDC. MP for Bolgatanga Central Isaac Adongo, key speaker at the NDC's lecture yesterday, said Ghana's economy is on its way into an abyss. Despite claims by government, the economy is on a sound footing. While some experts disagree, they insist though there is a lot more work to be done, the economy has witnessed a lot of progress under the current administration than it did previously. We'll hear from some of them shortly as well as your views. But first, here's a wrap of the NDC's lecture.
You can do all the lies and propaganda with the economy you like. The reality of the people's lives will expose you.
Former President John Mahama, after a 4-hour public lecture by the Coalition for Restoration of the NDC to respond to claims by the Vice President at a town hall meeting. Mr. Mahama, in what appeared to be a mini communication class, gave this advice.
You might sometimes be selective with your figures, present the best things, and then push the negative things to the background. But our lectures always reminded us that beware of your reality and keep your public relations and your communications as close to your reality as possible.
NDC MP for Bolgatanga Central, Isaac Adongo, who was a key speaker at the event, said Ghana's economy is on its way into an abyss.
Bloomberg reported that hours after the vice president made some of the claims that actually frightened them, the cedi reverted back to its unenviable record of being the worst performing currency in Africa. But this time, it was accompanied by us now becoming the 4th worst performing currency in the whole of the world.
According to the opposition, due to the poor governance of a country, Ghana has dropped in the business and economic environment ranking from 5th to 9th place in Africa. Former Deputy Energy Minister John Jinapor, on his part, described as poor the management of the energy sector by the Akufo-Addo government.
We handed over a resilient, strong, vibrant, dedicated energy sector to Akufo-Addo. What he has done is to turn President Mahama's programs upside down, mismanage the sector, and today we are witnessing doomsday.
Mr. Jinapor says the country's energy sector could grind to a complete halt if urgent steps are not taken to deal with the financial challenges.
How many thermal plants have you signed in terms of PPA? 14. How many thermal plants have you cancelled? 0. So you are sleeping on the job, you fail to pursue President Mahama's programs, and today when you are supposed to pay $32 million every month because of your inertia and incompetence, you turn around and blame President Mahama.
On the 3 missing Takoradi girls, former Deputy Finance Minister Mona Korte says the Gender Ministry has not done enough to reunite the girls with their families.
We see that ministry just adopting children rather than solving the situation.
You heard the former Deputy Finance Minister Mona Korte ending that report recounting events at the NDC's lecture yesterday. But let's focus on the issues about the economy. We can now hear from Dr. Osei Sibe, an economist who says in spite of the gloomy picture the opposition NDC painted, the economy is doing better under the current administration than it did previously. He spoke on the Super Morning Show with Daniel Dadsey.
Have their way and they are safe, but economics, though, with facts. And so I'll actually approach it by looking at the numbers. There's no doubt that this economy is recovering from a very difficult situation. We had to go to the IMF because of some economic difficulties that we experienced over the last 4 or 5 years ago. And the numbers appear to be recovering. There is some uptick. There's no doubt. There seems to be some turnaround with regard to the economy, particularly on the macroeconomic front. The indicators are there. The IMF itself has actually witnessed it and then has passed us out as being able to complete the programs.
You heard that Dr. Osei Sibe. Now, another economist, Professor Godfred Bokping, is calling for a ceasefire in terms of the regime comparison. Here's why.
Enough of the regime comparison. Look, if you want to compare the 2 years of this government to NDC, so this government will always be scored higher. Any objective person will give them more marks than the previous government. But we are saying that there are weightier matters that we have to be able to address. And to do so, we have to be a bit objective, less of the politics, less of the this here and there, so that we'll be able to garner the necessary broad-based support and the buy-in, because political will is important, but sometimes it may come at a political cost, and the ultimate politician also cares about employment stability. So they wouldn't want to take certain policies that will cost them their political job stability or something. So because our election cycle is very short. Yes, we've made some progress, but there's a lot more that we could do.
You heard that, Professor Godfred Bokping. So this week alone, Ghanaians have had the opportunity to listen to Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in one corner and MP for Bolgatanga Central Isaac Adongo in the other corner. So the question that most people are asking is, what exactly have we learned? And also, have the two political parties begun active campaign towards the 2020 general elections? My Joy Online editor and a member of our political desk, Malik Abbas Dabu, joins me on the line with details of that. So, Malik, we know that campaign starts towards the next election starts when the last election results are declared. But monitoring the scene, is that what we see? Has campaign officially started?
No, I think if we look at yesterday's event and the one before, the one led by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his economic management team, we can see clearly that those events will serve as a certain crystal ball in which we can look and determine the direction of the next election campaign. I think that especially for yesterday's event, the NDC was more than just respond to Vice President and his economic management team, but demonstrated the manner and the direction in which the NDC's campaign will take. So you'd find that all those who matter in the NDC were present at this forum. I think the decision was to project a certain unity or unified force within the party. So the former President John Mahama was there, Joyce Bao Mukhtaris, many leaders, former ministers, everybody who matters in the NDC was present at this forum. Now, if you look at the subject and the persons who spoke to the subject, you would realize there was a certain deliberate selection of the persons who spoke to specific subjects. Those subjects, in my respectful view, also are the subjects that would dominate the discussion going forward into the 2020 election.
Okay, you heard there my Joy Online editor Malik Abbas Dabu. So what did you take away from the two lectures? The question was posed to you on our social media platform. Some of you have also been speaking to us. But first, Joy News editor Fred Smith has some of your comments that you posted on our Facebook page.
Don Pino in Malam, he says Dr. Bawumia was on top of it all. I will score him 10 out of 10. Adongo, on the other hand, was a comically induced fanatic who just wanted to be heard for its sake. Justice Mengel, he says, I will go for the NDC because theirs covered a vast area of the economy and was quite educative. Hassan Mojid Tahid, he says the opposition was able to show to us their sources of figures, and also in my real life as a citizen, most of the goods and services I pay for have gone up by a wider margin, so I'll go for the oppositions. Kofi Gedira, NS, says, total waste of our time as Ghanaians. We don't need lectures, so both NPP and NDC should better give us a break.
So it looks like the road to election 2020 has officially kick-started, and this is what you can expect.
At risk of falling out of the top 10 investment destinations in Africa. I'm sure if I was Bawumia, I don't think I'll get an erection when I go home.
You only resort to insults when you are allergic to facts.
We now have a vice president who gave us so much hope, who gave us so much to believe in, that the people of Ghana knew that with His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Walwale Adam Smith, the Ghanaian economy was poised for the better.
So our West is better than your best. And then you say boot for boot. One is more like boot for Chalewote. The economic fundamentals had weakened significantly, and therefore the depreciation was easily explainable. It was not caused by dwarfs or high-rise buildings, as we were told. The exchange rate in 2014 had exposed the weak economic fundamentals. But if the exchange rate moves, you cannot jump to that conclusion that the fundamentals are weak. That defies logic.
You can do all the lies and propaganda with the economy you like. The reality of the people's lives will expose you.
This is the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll take a quick break at this point. When we return, drivers in the capital welcome move by the MTTD to deploy more women on major streets to direct traffic in the move to bridge gender inequality.
Yeah, now respect to man who say a memano. Omono police no background so achiwa. I was serious here on an Nebeka, but once a memano ya no me ash.
Let's do sports now in the name of gender inequality. And Redwan has the very latest.
This is clear. This is glaring that we have, an inequality existing in the studios. We need a lady to be doing that with you, right?
There's a lady doing the midday news.
And
Please give me sports.
With the sports.
Let's do sports.
We have to talk tennis this time around because the International Tennis Federation Under 18 World Junior Circuit Tournament here in Ghana enters its semi-final stage today, but with no Ghanaian representative. Now, yesterday, the last set crashed out and failed to reach the semis of the men's singles event and also the men's doubles. Johnson Aqua was defeated by another unseeded player, Mathis Bondas from France, 6-2 6-love. And in the doubles event, Benjamin Palm and Johnson Aqua were defeated by Indian Ishan Lumba and his partner Yusuf Nabil from Egypt. Now, the duo lost out 7-5, 6-3. So, what has accounted for this? This was the question put to an official of the Ghana Tennis Federation, Kobna Fojo, by my colleague Benjamin Nusu.
It's rather unfortunate our players couldn't progress to the quarterfinals. So, we are hoping maybe next year they will do much better. But it's been a very good tournament, and the players are happy. They're happy with everything, the organization and everything. So, in all, I would say it's been good so far.
Okay, but in terms of the Ghanaian players that couldn't make it, what do you think caused them?
Yes, I think still the normal lack of exposure because tennis is about tournaments. The more tournaments that you play, the more experience that you gain. And you can see that, that was what the Ghanaians were lacking. They were lacking tournaments, experience. So it affected their play, but they did their best.
So lack of exposure accounting for, that poor showing from Ghana's representative at the ITF Under 18 World Junior Circuit Tournament. And you had the official talking to my colleague Benedict Owusu. Initially, I said Benjamin. Sorry for the blip.
Thank you very much, Ridwan, for the very latest from the world of sports. Now, the Ghana Meteorological Agency says the rainstorm that hit the capital and Kumasi on Friday dawn will be recorded in Salt Pond in the central region and Takrady in the western region. A few places in the north will also continue to experience thunderstorms and windy conditions within this period. The agency is also cautioning fishermen going out for fishing will encounter windy conditions and rain at sea. Michael Paddy is a senior meteorologist at the Ghana Meteorological Agency.
From now going, places like Halfastini towards Elubo, especially the coastline and slightly into the sea, would continue to experience windy conditions and some thundery activities, rain showers. So people that will be going out for fishing around those places, stretching from Takrady in the sea, are expected to experience thunderstorm activity with rain showers, slightly windy conditions that would not be very good for navigation over the sea. Apart from those areas, for now, we expect just cloudy conditions due to the remnants. Very cloudy conditions also. Conditions are also expected over the upper west.
So you heard that Michael Paddy, a senior meteorologist at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Now at least one person was reportedly rushed to hospital after security personnel rescued him from his vehicle trapped by a falling billboard in Kumasi. Now, we head on to the story that you've all been waiting for. If you've been very observant, you would have noticed that a lot of beautiful women are now stationed on major roads in the capital, directing traffic. But this, according to the Motor Transport and Traffic Unit, is to bridge the gender inequality gap. Interesting thing is, the drivers we've been speaking to say they are excited about this move. Why? Nancy Emefa-Jwadosi has the answers in this report.
Thank you for the compliment for Motor Traffic and Transport Department.
The Head of Education, Research and Training at the Motor Transport and Traffic Unit, DSP, Alexander Obeng, couldn't help but spend a few seconds to say thank you when I told him the ladies were indeed beautiful. But this move, according to him, was to empower them.
Our department is also sensitive to gender. Women are doing what is expected of them regarding the provision of traffic services.
Mr. Kofiedu is a taxi driver. He's particularly excited for one reason. He thinks his colleagues will be motivated to obey the traffic regulations.
We usually respect the command of the women as compared to the men. They're usually patient and polite with us, but the men are very harsh.
Well, Kofi Edu is not alone.
It also ensures that there's safety all the time. So women are usually cautious in doing things.
Yes, I mean, theirs, it seems better than the men. That's how I find it personally.
But overall, they were proud with the move. They say it will boost the morale of our ladies.
It will really motivate our women to believe they can go into male-dominated areas.
Inspires the women that they have a role to play in society.
Only we allowed women to do more in this world, the world would be a better place to be in. And that's it for today's edition of the Midday News. Though later, we'll head to Parliament where Futu MP Alexander Afenyo-Marking is dissatisfied with the university's decision to reinstate 3 lecturers at the UEW, describing it as a half-baked reconciliation effort. We have more in our subsequent bulletins. Also, there's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am MFR Paul. Please enjoy your weekend and stay safe.